everybody's having a good Monday. I'm finally getting around to my best of list for 2018. These are all new albums from 2018, and they're all in vinyl and they're all in hand. There'll be a lot of things that haven't made the list because I don't have it in hand, so I'm not going to just do a list. A couple honorable mentions per video. This is going to be a two-part video because I could literally only get it down to about 36, so figured I'd throw in a couple of honorable mentions per video, and then we'll go from there. I'm not going to, since it's such a 15 and 15, I don't want it to be a 30-minute video, so I'm not going to be listing songs. I'll tell you maybe a tiny bit about the album. A lot of these bands we all know, some of them you guys may not know, like what the fuck is that doing on the list, but this is my list. This is the stuff that sat in my constant play basket for pretty much as long as I've had it. So all I had to do was go to that crate and look through it, and I know how easy it was. And I think I had a total of 54 that I constantly played. That's a lot. Some of these have been in here for almost a year. But this will be from 30 to 16. I would rate every one of these albums 8 or better overall. And again, my taste, what I listen to, what I like. Yours is totally different than mine, and that's okay. There's a couple, things in here that are kind of like not metal, but that doesn't matter. We all like a little bit of everything. Anyway, I'll do the honorable mentions first. And this is Marty Friedman's Wall of Sound from earlier this year. Really good album. I like Marty Friedman. He's a bit of a quirky dude, but the dude can play some tunes, some guitar. Alright. Next one is Brian Vollmer. And Brian Vollmer is the singer of Helix. So if you like that band, you'll definitely love his solo album. There's not much of a departure from it. And finally, for these honorable mention is Camelot. The Shadow Theory, right? The Shadow Theory. I haven't had enough time with this album. I just recently got it on vinyl, and I haven't downloaded it to preview it at all. So this is a really good album that sat in the basket since I've had it. It might have pushed one or two out, but with not enough time with it, I didn't want to throw it in there just to throw it in there. Alright, now to the 30 to 16. First album is a band called Ultraphonix. Came out mid-ish year. This band has Corey Glover from Living Colour, George Lynch, who are the other people that I can't remember right now? Pancho Tomaselli from War and Tower of Power, and Chris Moore. It's funny, that sticker. It just says, and Chris Moore. He's a nobody. But really quirky, funky, hard rock, bluesy. I mean, it has a little bit of everything in this album. It's called the Original Human Music. It has a little bit of that Living Colour vibe to it. It's a bit funky, a bit all over the place. So if I could put it somewhere as it sounds like, it would be that. Definitely worth picking up, and you can find it pretty cheap now. Just black vinyl, I think it's all comes on. Next is a band I think a lot of you guys picked up on recently. That's a band called the Dead Daisies. John Corabi, Doug Ulrich. God damn it! It's kind of a super band of, I wouldn't call them second raters, but second tier guys and never really made it huge. I mean, Doug Ulrich played with Whitesnake and bands like that, and Corabi did the album with Motley Crue in '94, which is one of the best albums. Killer album, killer hard rock album. It looks metal. It's definitely not metal. Cool black and red vinyl. Alright, now this one is probably going to be like, what the hell? This is a band called Trillium, although they named it Amanda Somerville's Trillium on the second album here. Amanda Somerville does a lot of backing vocals for bands like Avantasia, A lot of European bands she does backing vocals for. She has an album out this year too as well that I forgot to put on my dang list on CD. There's 4 women. God, I can't think of it, so I'm not going to talk about it. I don't know what you call this. It's kind of symphonic. The album's called Tectonic. It's kind of like symphonic rock metal, but she has a really, 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 really nice voice. She did an album with Michael Kiske. They did Kiske Somerville album, which is actually a good album. So if you check it out, the band's called Trillium. This is their second release. The first album's only on CD. I wish they would reissue it. I think the first album's a little bit better, but this still, vocally, she's just phenomenal. So it's hard to not put this on my list because I love her voice. Now next, I've seen this on a couple lists and I understand why, and that's the band Wizzard. God, I can never remember titles. Infernal Overdrive. What can I say about this? Brings back the original singer and one of the original guitarists, if I remember correctly. Very Judas Priest influence, very Judas Priest sounding with that modern production. I definitely must have. If you're a Judas Priest fan, you like that style of music, heavy metal, you'll love these guys. White vinyl. What else was I going to say? It don't matter. I'm trying to get through this and not talk about this for hours. Another one you guys may not know that you should know, and this started high on my list, but as I was going through and reordering, this dropped into my top, bottom 16, 15, which doesn't really matter. It's still a great freaking album. And that's Jimmy P. Brown's Eraserhead. Jimmy Brown is the singer of Deliverance. For you Deliverance people, you probably know this already, but if you guys that kind of know the band Deliverance, this is where he's from. This is like, I think a lot of the guys on here, a couple of the guys actually are Deliverance too, that play. But just a great, almost has that concept feel to me, you know? Each song plays well together. It's not Deliverance. It's more, man, I don't even know how to put it. If you don't buy it expecting Deliverance, it's just not that. I get a Queensryche vibe from it, like Queensryche 90s, early 90s, when they started to go into that Promised Land sound, you know. That's what I get from it when I listen to it, and that's probably why I like it so much, because I love that album too. And it's on a really, like, unique blue, baby blue with brown shit in it. I don't know how else to put it. But phenomenal album, highly recommended. This is a retroactive record? Yeah, this is a retroactive record. I'm not sure if Scott had anything to do with this one. I'm not going to look into it right now because I got too many to go through. Alright, next is the band called Northward. This is just self-titled, right? Yeah. The singer, Flora Jansen, you guys would know her recently she's in Nightwish, which is the best version of Nightwish. I love her vocals, period. She was in a band called After Forever. She was in a band called Revamped, which are even better than After Forever. They had that heavier metal sound. This is none of that. This is very, I'd have to say, light overall. More of that pop sound, I guess you could say. Pop Euro sound for hard rock. But overall, Flora Jansen on vocals will get me every time. I love her too. She's got an amazing voice. I think overall, range-wise, she's probably one of the better 3 vocalists out there right now. But phenomenal album. I've got the green vinyl version. I forget the guy where he came from, but he's also in a popular Eurobeat power band too. Next is another guy. This guy will always be high on my list because I love his voice. There's a couple guys that sound like him now, but this is the original, and that's Warrel Dane. After his death release of Shadow Work, I think I called it Shadow Zone the other day. I've been listening to this on download since it came out, and I finally got the vinyl in from Amazon. It just took forever. And just a great album. Warrel Dane's vocals I don't know, it just always hit me as being original sounding, you know what I mean? When you hear it, you know it's him. It's like Ozzy. You know Ozzy, you know Clausmane from Scorpion. Everybody, they just have that sound. Again, not heavy, not Sanctuary or Nevermore sounding. I guess, I mean, obviously it sounds like it because it's Warrel Dane, but it's a little on the lighter side, a lot dark. It's a dark album. I'm assuming, yeah, he was going through some shit because this is a darker album. But overall, phenomenal album. This is just a silver vinyl. Alright, I don't know what we're on here. Number 23 is the band Beyond the Black. This album grew a lot on me. This is their third album. The first two are phenomenal. The song they released from this was really Euro radio friendly, and it kind of turned me off. But the more I listened to it, I find myself not skipping by it. So I would listen to it, and I got deeper and deeper into the album. It is a really good album. Obviously, it made my top 30 out of about 105 albums from this year. Heart of the Hurricane. This is gold vinyl. One of my favorite vocals overall. Again, like Floor Jansen, Jennifer Aben. Phenomenal singer. This is very power metal, very symphonic. There's a little bit of death metal growl vocals in it as well from the, I think, guitarist, but not as much as the first two albums. You can tell this was kind of written for a little more airplay, if that makes sense. But still, phenomenal album. I suggest if you like female-fronted bands, if you don't, and I'm really getting tired of saying female-fronted bands, because it shouldn't matter. But I love female singers, so I can say it. And I'm not saying to be derogative, I'm saying it because I love female singers, especially in hard rock and metal. Great album, buy it. Gold vinyl. Next is a band, I can't remember where they're from, of course. I think, I gotta research when I do these videos, but then I feel like I'm doing a script. A band called Maverick. They may be Ireland. I could be wrong. I'm not going to say that. This album plays so well. It's like a modern hair metal, heavy hair metal album. I think this is their fourth album, if I remember correctly. I actually had this on download because it's hard to find the vinyl here, but my good friend Ken sent this to me from, I never remember your name, Ken. Great Short Films 1 sent me this as VCLT. And since I've got it, this probably gets played at least once, twice a week. It sat in the basket all that time. It's such a great, all their albums are good. There's something about the main song, Cold Star, right? I do cover Jesse's Girl, not too bad. It's hard for me, I'm not a cover person, so black vinyl. I highly suggest this, especially if you're like the late 88, 92 hair metal sound, a little chunkier, heavier. This is it. And also, a couple of these guys that played in that band were bigger than I can't remember. Well, we got another female vocalist, and that's Kobra and the Lotus, Kobra Page. This is like a two-part album. Initially, they were doing this themselves on Pledge Music, and they were picked up by, was it Napalm or Nuclear Blast? I can't remember. I'm not pulling it out. It was supposed to be released as a double album, which I pledged, and then they got signed, and they decided to split it in two albums. One came out last year, Prevail 1, and this came out this year, Prevail 2. Prevail 1 is a really good album. It's got one of my all-time favorite songs of theirs on there. But this is a better album overall. This is a heavier album overall. I like this sound better. I'm trying to think what else to say about this. Canadian band, just phenomenal band. They've been around a little while now. I think this is their fourth. I know they got an EP out as well that I have. I think I'm missing one of theirs over on CD and vinyl because the last couple have been on vinyl. Prevail, the EP, and then the one before that I can't think of. Anyway, great album. Should be on everybody's top list this year, in my opinion. Kobra and the Lotus, Kobra with a K. Kobra with a K, like crab with a K when you eat at that shitty restaurants. And here's a band that people may know, and this band I was actually turned on by EL, his channel's EL, and this band is called Sacred Leather, Ultimate Force. Very raw, early, I would say early, I'd say early Judas Priest in that point of entry kind of sound. Obviously heavier, modern, a little heavier, modern. No modern production, is very raw, and I think that's why I like it so much. But if you like that early Priest, I don't know. You know, Priest kind of had like 4 sounds. I'd say point of entry sound, but just a little more chunk to it. Great album. Sacred Leather, Ultimate Force. Self-released, I think, or it's on one of those weird... No, it's on that Cruz del Sur label, which is... It's a small indie label, and a drink. Alright, we're at number 20. No, we're not. We're at number 19. This band is called Millennial Reign. And this is, what is this one? This is Great Divide, right? Power, progressive, a little progressive in there. Again, kind of that Queensryche 90s vibe to it. Kind of sounds like Jeff Tate a little bit. I think this is their 3rd album. I'm off. I've got one on CD, this one, and I think this is their 3rd. I need to get the one before this on vinyl still. A great album. Again, that Queensryche sound. Black vinyl. I think there's only like 300 copies of that. Next is an album that also grew on me. This is kind of like the Beyond the Black. Lizzy Borden's new album, My Midnight Things. I first listened to this, I almost like, wow, this is not good. Second spin, I found myself getting into it. And by a third, fourth spin, I'm like, oh, I get it now. I get it. It is a really good album. You got to give it time. And what did I say? I mean, it's got Lizzy's voice. He's another one of those unique vocalists that when you hear it, you know who it's Lizzy Borden. So that's still there. There are a couple songs that are kind of radio written, but he's always been like that. He's always thrown a song in there too. You're like, what? This has more of the Master of the Skies vibe to me. Some of that stuff in there, which it's one of my favorite albums by the band overall. And it's really good. Obviously, it made my list, but it started a little higher, then it was a little lower, and then I listened to it twice last week, and then I'm like, oh, this is better. This is better than what I had ranked at. So I moved it up a couple of notches. Lizzy Borden, My Midnight Things. This is the gray marble. Blah, 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 blah. All right, we're up to number 17. These are the last 2 of this video, and this video is already at 19 minutes. Okay, so the next album is Anvil's Pound the Pavement. This is a great album by this band. I would probably say after Metal and Metal, this is probably my favorite Anvil album at this point. The last one was all right. I think the songs on this are just. It's like they changed, man. It's like, I don't know how to put it. The songs are way better written, you know? It just has more of a serious vibe, not such because they kind of have a little bit of that joke vibe to them, and some of their albums really come off bad that way. And don't get me wrong, they're good albums, but you don't take them as seriously. It's kind of like, you know, Steel Panther and Saxon. You know, they rate one album like Steel Panther, and they rate an album like Saxon. This is a great album. I mean, there's so many good albums. This is why this is dropped into my bottom 30, you know. So I would say, I'm trying to look at what I was going to say about this. Anyway, Anvil's Pounding the Pavement. Whoops. All right, and lastly for this one, this is number 16 of the bottom 15. This is an all-female band, which kicks ass. This is their second album, They do have a live album in between, but it's so hard, so expensive to get on vinyl, which is stupid. Even if you get it from the band, it's still expensive, which is stupid. But this band is Burning Witches. This is I always get this wrong. Hexenhammer. A couple months released out. I listened to this a lot. It's very Judas Priest-like. It's not as good as their first album. Their first album, I mean, hell, they even did a Judas Priest cover. But it still ranks up there high. Obviously, it's on my top 30. It's just missing something for me. I think Metal War God Kevin, he just made his list too, and he said the same thing. It's like it's just missing something to it. It's like, you know, you listen to it and it's like it sounds great, it plays great, but it's like you had a meal and it just wasn't that good, if that makes sense. But it's still great. I mean, you're still gonna tip. Anyway, guys, there's my bottom 15 of the top 30 for 2018. A lot of these guys, a lot of this stuff you guys will know. Some you won't. I was going to do a video list, but you guys can search this, you know, if you're really interested. I'll put the name of the band and the album in my description below, and then you guys can search it out. It ain't that hard. But I thank you guys for watching. Sorry, this is a little behind. I really had a hard time getting this knocked down to under 50, let alone down 30, because I was originally only going to do a top 18, and I couldn't do it. There's just so many good albums out this year, and so many good albums from bands that have been around forever. I think what you got: Lizzy, Borden, you got Anvil, Kobra and Lotus been around a while. Warrel, Dane's been around forever. Jimmy Brown has been around forever. White Wizzard's been around quite a bit. Daisies been around a while. Ultraphonix, that band's basically a bunch of old guys. Ultraphonix, rather, I'm sorry. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here before I waste another 3 minutes of bullshitting. But thank you for watching. Part 1 coming soon. Y'all have a great day.